Hi, I'm Gayatri, Head of Training at Scylladb, and I want to welcome you to today's event, Scylladb University Live. I'm happy to have you here with us. The training sessions today are going to be live, and they're going to start right after my welcome talk in the Sessions tab. Last month, we hosted the Scylladb Summit event. It's an annual conference for sharing Scylladb news, use cases, best practices, as well as exploring trends for what's next in NoSQL in general. The event had thousands of people attending with some really interesting talks from some of our users like Discord and Epic Games, as well as talks from Scylladb's own technical leaders and innovators. If you missed the event, you can view some of the talks on demand at scylladb.com/summit. Throughout the event today, the event are going to be answering your questions. And if you have a question that was not answered, maybe there wasn't enough time, at the end of the day, we're going to be hosting an expert panel with some of our speakers and some other special guests. And there you'll also have a chance to ask any question that didn't get an answer and get an answer for that. So after the event, we're also going to be publishing the slides and the links to the hands-on labs that you're going to be seeing throughout the event today. Lessons covering pretty much all Scylladb related topics. And to get started with that, all you have to do is register for a free user, and that's at university.scylladb.com. And people that will attend today's event and also complete a course on Scylladb University will get a cool Scylladb t-shirt. I think it's similar to the one that I'm wearing right now. Okay, a few words about Scylladb and about what we do for those of you that are not familiar with Scylladb. So Scylladb is a NoSQL database. It's written from scratch in C++. Companies like Disney, Comcast, Zillow, Starbucks, and others. And that means that it's easy to scale the system by adding more nodes to a Scylladb cluster. And you can do that as the cluster is running, so no downtime is required, and it's quite straightforward. High performance, so the system runs very close to the hardware and it delivers low and consistent latency with a very high throughput. Next is low maintenance. That's using either one of those databases. You can pretty much use your application as it is. You change the endpoint. So you don't need to make any changes to your application. It's compatible with both Cassandra and DynamoDB. A few words about Scylladb Cloud, our managed database as a service offering. So we see more and more users are choosing that option for deploying Scylladb. And with that, we take care of the database administration, so you can focus on your core business. We take care of things like backups, performance, security, upgrades, and so on, so you don't have to worry about that. With Scylladb Cloud, you can get a free trial cluster and play around with it, see how easy it is to use. Most of the labs that you're going to be seeing in today's event, as well as labs from Scylladb University, can be run with Scylladb Cloud. If you previously used your free trial and you want to try it again, just shoot me an email and I can help you with that. So today we're going to have two parallel tracks, the Essentials track and the Advanced Topics track. The sessions in each one of the tracks are going to start at the same time, so you can bounce back and forth between tracks or just drop in for sessions that are of interest to you. In the Essentials track, I will start with the first talk, Intro to Scylladb, and there I'll start with the very basics of NoSQL and give an intro to Scylladb. After that, I'll show a quick hands-on lab spinning up a Scylladb cluster and performing some basic queries just to see how easy it is to get up and running with a Scylla cluster. Afterwards, I'll talk about the Scylladb architecture. And finally, if we still have enough time, I'll show another lab where we'll have a cluster and I will be performing different queries, different reads and writes with different consistency levels. And we'll see what happens when we perform those queries while simulating a situation where some of the nodes are down. Okay, the next session, still in the Essentials track, is Scylladb core concepts. And that is a jumpstart for how to get started with Scylladb, covering best practices for data modeling, choosing the right compaction strategy, working with drivers, and more. And the third and final talk in the Essentials track is build your first Scylladb powered app. And that one is by Lubos. And Lubos will show a hands-on demonstration of how to create a full stack app powered by Scylladb Cloud. Moving on to the advanced track. So the first session in the advanced track is on how to use Scylladb's DynamoDB API. And that includes a hands-on example and also information for migrating from DynamoDB to Scylladb. The next talk in the advanced track is by Tomasz, and Tomasz will cover Scylladb and Kubernetes. So he's going to talk about the usage of the open source Scylladb Kubernetes operator, and he's going to cover topics like how to automate the cluster deployment process and different operational tasks like scaling, backup, upgrades, and more. And the final talk in the advanced track is by Piotr. Piotr is going to talk about advanced application development best practices. And in his session, you will see more advanced data modeling topics, things like user-defined types, TTL, batching, retries, secondary indexes, and more. Okay, so before we get started, I want to tell you about our new community forum. So I mentioned Scylladb is open source and community-based. Our community is growing quite fast. And the forum is our new platform where users can share their experiences, they can ask questions, and just interact with one another. It's easy to search, and that makes it even easier for you to get started with Scylladb. So please go ahead and check that out. It's at forum.scylladb.com. So with that, let's get started. Please head over to the Sessions tab, and we're going to get started with the first session very shortly.